Welcome back to the channel, guys. I continue to wait on the ECU. You'll probably get an update in a different video, and I know I said the next video we would get this started, but I'm waiting on parts. The next video that comes out on the cart will have some details on that, but the really short version of it is I needed to send the ECU back to Holley, and it turned out to be bad. And so they're sending me a new one, and I'm waiting for that to arrive. So in the meantime, I'm going to tackle a couple of projects out here. So let me show you what we'll be working on. Okay, I recently picked up this 2005 F250 3/4 ton. It's got a couple of issues on it, about 240,000 miles on the 6-liter Power Stroke. Previous owner did bulletproof it, so I'm not too concerned with the mileage there. It's got a little bit of rust down here and over the same spot on the other side. We'll probably try to address that at some point. It's got a little bit of an oil leak. It's not super uncommon, but we'll try and address the oil leak at some point, and probably try and clean up some of this super faded paint as well. But the bones are pretty good. I think someone attempted to break into it at some point, because there's a little hole here and no key. So and you can hear the ignition switch tumbler is bad, so it just beeps incessantly with the door open. So now that I'm in here with the door closed, you can maybe hear me a little bit better. Gonna do a couple of things. This it actually works, like audio wise it comes on, but nothing comes on in this display. So I've got a head unit that it's an Atoto F7, I think. I forget which version, but it'll give us Android Auto in here, and so we're gonna swap this out. These cup holders are broken. There's no arm here, so I've got a new cup holder assembly that we're gonna throw in there. There is this is actually broken here, so we'll probably try and address that at some point. The speakers down there are exposed. I don't even know if they work. I'm pretty sure the door speakers work, and in the back they work. So we're just gonna kind of touch up the interior a little bit. I need to see about getting some conditioner to clean up some of the leather, but for 240,000 miles, these seats don't look bad at all. The interior's held up pretty well on this thing, so let's dive in. All right, first order of business is this cup holding tray. Looks like it's just two 7mm bolts here. Looks like there's a couple more 7mm coming up from the bottom, but I'm not even sure I'm going to go that far, because the only piece that's broken is really this metal. Doesn't seem to be an issue, so and by the way, I just picked this piece up off of eBay. Should be able to just slide this in here. I'm going to just, for good measure, put just a tad of oil on here. Make sure that slides nice in the future. All right. So Didn't even really need to pull these bolts out. These little screws. All right, with the cup holders done now, the next thing I'm going to do is throw on this TPMS sensor. This does not have any TPMS sensing on it, so I want to get that on the vehicle. That way I know if the tire pressures are low. I might throw a second one on for the trailer in the future whenever I tow a trailer, but I'm not sure. I've used this on the cart for probably 2 years. I really like it. And it's only like 30 bucks. So I already opened it, but it's got a solar panel on the back of this. This mounts to the windshield like this, and then it's connected wirelessly to each of these that go on the valve stems of each of the wheels. They're labeled which ones they go on. And because it's solar powered, it does come with the plug. I have never had to plug the one on my cart in because the solar power keeps it alive. It shuts it off when you're not driving the car and kind of comes back on when the car starts moving. So this is a pretty nifty system, like 30 bucks. I'll probably throw a link on Amazon to this in the description. So if you're interested, and it works well, seems to be accurate within a pound of my high-end manual gauge that I use for filling the car, their tires when I'm autocrossing and such. But it's pretty accurate. So we'll get this thrown on. Start by washing the spot on the windshield we're gonna attach this to, make sure that's clean. And there's a couple of adhesive pads that go on here, and it goes on, and the one on my cart stayed in place with the ones that come with it. So let's get to it. Okay, this is probably not going to pick up very well because it's too light out on the back side of this. But it's installed and working. The truck should be at 60 PSI on the front and 70 on the rear tires. So that's reading pretty properly. And I don't know if you can see it or not, temperature on the tires is about 84, 86 degrees, that's the ambient temperature outside right now. So it does come in metric, so you got to go through the settings to turn it all to imperial, unless you want to read your pressure in bar and Celsius. And then you set up alarms, both on the upper and lower end of the scale. So I set mine at 50 PSI and 90 PSI, 80 PSI. So if the temperature for some reason goes too high or too low, this thing will start beeping and becoming annoying. But while you're driving, you can look up there and see it the whole time. So that's nice and convenient. So on to the next thing. Okay, didn't record pulling this off. Managed to break 3 of these in the process, so I'm going to try and epoxy those back on before I put it back together. Also managed to crack the top of this. This old plastic is pretty brittle. It's almost 20 years old at this point, so and maybe I wasn't as careful as I should have been, though I was trying to be gentle, just not gentle enough. So we'll epoxy those back together before we put it back together. So now I'm gonna start yanking this guy out. Okay, I've kind of mounted this up where it needs to go using this face plate that'll work with this double din to fit this hole perfectly, and I've got it situated right. This kind of locates it right where it needs to be, and then you just tighten everything down. So this is all where it is. Now we'll move on to wiring. Okay, off camera. Sorry for the lawnmower in the background. I wired up this harness, and I've got to do just a couple more things. One, this pin 18 on the back of this connector is a resistance pin. I don't think you can see it in this shot, but on the steering wheel there are 4 buttons: volume up, volume down, next, and mode buttons, and those just produce a different level of resistance on this pin 18. So I need to wire into this, because it's not a part of this connector, to the steering wheel key button on here. And then I should be able to program the head unit to accept, to tell it what those 4 buttons do. So, but I should be able to just plug this in here. And then this should plug in here. Not everything isn't wired in yet, but this should come on at this point, if I did my job right. Alright, I had a bit of a family obligation, so it's getting dark out here. I figured I'd shoot this before I lose all my light, but for right now I just double-sided taped this. I'm gonna make a bracket just out of a piece of flat steel or something, attach it to these, and do that later. But for now I just double-sided taped. It did not come with a license plate bracket, which usually they do, but this kit did not. And I've got it run all the way up through the firewall and the cab and into the radio. It's not connected up there yet, and I need to tap brake light here so it knows when I'm backing up. I'm gonna hop under the truck and do that next while I still got a little light, and then I may be finishing this with a flashlight inside the cab. And with the last bit of light I've got this hooked in to reversing the tail light, and a ground underneath, so we should be good out here. We can move into the cab. All right, I think I have almost everything wired up. I've got one question that I think I did it properly, but we'll see. On the camera, there was a red wire as part of the bundle here. I think that's red. I'm actually colorblind. The label ripped off of it while I was routing it through the firewall, through that rubber grommet, so I'm pretty sure it's accessory power. Couldn't find any documentation in the box that said what it was, so I went ahead and wired it to accessory power. We'll hope that's correct. I'm fairly positive based on the color that's correct. So everything should be wired in. I'm gonna drill a hole here real quick, right here, just to push the USB cable that comes with it through here, so it'll come out this little cubby for connecting phones or whatever to. So we'll do that, and then we should be able to start sliding stuff back together. Okay, now with it all bolted up, let's see what we do. Coming on. I'm not gonna go through the features. There's plenty of Atoto reviews on YouTube. If you're interested, you can go watch those. All right, big question is when I put it in reverse. Oh, maybe I need to start it. Let's see here. video signal detected. Well, I just learned that my reverse lights are not coming on at all, so I'm gonna need to look into that. I don't know if the bulbs are bad, and that might be why this is not coming on. Not sure. So, but it's late. I'm just gonna put this together and save that for another day because neither reverse lights on either side are not coming on right now. So. Well, that'll probably do it for this video. I know most of you guys were really probably waiting on an update on the cart, and continue to wait on Holley to get me an ECU so I can get that done. You can see where I glued this back together up here, cracked here, and then it also cracked over here, and then some of the other pieces on the back side cracked. All this plastic is brittle, so I did the best I could. It looks like I got a little glue on the front there, but at least it's back together and presentable, and at least I have a radio that works. This is mostly just a truck that I use for hauling stuff around my trailer or getting loads of mulch or whatever. So it should be a little bit more comfortable with a radio that works. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.